So this is the Woods Cascade 3. It's a tent made by Woods. I bought this one at Canadian Tire. It was on sale from, I think regular price was $230. I bought it on sale for $180. It has two vestibules. There's one at the back here and a similar one around the front. Down here, do that. There is Velcro along here that you have to sort of work around, but it does keep it dry. Okay, there are two zippers. One that creates a space up here, and one from down here, so you got two zippers. I always accidentally undo the top one first, which isn't much good when you're trying to get into it. And here, each side hooks in. As you can see, if you don't have it hooked in, it will just fold back flat against the tent. So you do have to have the vestibules out. Back in there, we've got a door here that will open up. Zip that up. So right away, you can see the door, it can roll back only this side. And on the back side, it's the other side. Only one side of the triangular vestibule will open. You have a vent here, which is held up by, I don't know if you can see it up in there. It's a stiff piece of plastic or something like that. So as you come in the door, you've got a full size, well not full size, full, I'd say 2.5 person tent. I have had two people in here, and it's just right for that, along with gear in the middle or off to one side. As you can see, there's my backpack. It's a 75-liter pack, so it's a fairly larger one. Got a sleeping bag across the front here, and you could fit another person in there along with their gear along the back. It would work. It's definitely comfortable as a one person. It's okay as a two person. As an actual three person, such as the number suggests, you would be crammed in there. So, on the door here, it's a large, very large door. Now, right now I've got it undone. As you go into it, right here you can see that the floor does come up a considerable ways. This floor it's not a weaved nylon like a tarp material. It is actually more just one solid piece. It's not as thick as the tarp type floors, but it is more water resistant. It's got taped seams, so this thing, I have been in a tent with similar floor, and water was actually running around the tent before it was leaking in. Head inside here. So once inside the tent, you can see there's the vestibule area. Right now I've got the door closed here, but there's a considerable triangle of space. You could fit, I could fit my pack out there, along with some stuff stacked on top of it. There's the entrance. One thing that I am noticing right now, because this has been sitting in sunlight for a while, it does not have very good ventilation. Even though, I don't know if you can see down in it, even though it is a completely mesh tent, the fly comes right to the ground on all four sides. Like you've got not even a thickness of a shoe of room there. So it is extremely waterproof, but at the same time that makes it less breathable. The two vents, one up there, one in the opposite corner here, they're quite small for the size of the tent. There's nothing up along the ceiling here. No windows of any sort to speak of or anything. You do have your mesh shelf here. It's nice and snug. There's also a little ring up there for you to hook a flashlight on if you take this out. And it works well. The door. The door is one big, huge hoop style here. The only spot it's fastened throughout the whole thing is right here. It's a little strip about maybe 2 or 3 inches long. And there's the door. It's got pockets in each corner, so you can unwind the door and just stick it into pockets. As you go up with the door, it just goes up and around. Bring it all the way back down. There we go. Now it's sealed in. It's a nice big door, and the fact that you have the one up front here and the one at the back makes it nice. To improve the ventilation, if it's not raining, as long as it's not raining, you could open up both the back vestibule and the front one, and that would get a nice cross breeze going through here. I just don't have it open because there'd be too much sunlight coming through. Inside the tent, like I said, it's fairly thin floor. It is very waterproof, but it's thin, so you want to have a ground sheet underneath it. I currently don't, but I'm on long grass on my property where I know there's no twigs or anything to stab a hole through this. Here is the packaging it came in. The gear loft, which is that little hanging shelf, works nicely. Oh, the poles. The poles are aluminum, so they're nice and strong and flexible. The only thing is, replacing aluminum poles can be expensive. It's definitely easier to replace or fix fiberglass poles than aluminum ones. So it says it can sleep 3. The measurement's 5'11" by 7'3", and it's 3 feet 7 inches tall. The fly is 5,000 millimeter floors and 2,000 millimeter fly with fully taped seams. So even the seams, well, actually there is only one seam in this whole floor. There's only the one seam, and it is taped. I don't know why you can see that. That basically means that no water's coming through there. Water will have to soak up through the floor before it comes through that seam. And the seam is not rigid by any means. It's nice and flexible, so it's not like the tape is just gonna crack off if you bend it too much or something. One advantage of the aluminum poles are that it makes it light. So this is a Expedition Series tent, meaning that it's built for backpacking and sports. So not only does the tent have a large vestibule, nice big doors, and taped seam floor, but it also has the aluminum poles. These poles have a little bit of a different way of going together than normal fiberglass ones, which I will show here right about now. Poles go together. They're aluminum, capped off on the end so you don't get dirt jammed in there. Basically what happens here, it's pretty strong because it's new elastic right now, but it slips. Instead of like a fiberglass one where it slips into a sleeve, these ones and creates like that little bump. These ones here, if I can get it, they just pull off. So you get that, and it just that silver piece slides up into the next tube. Done. So for putting this together, it's quite easy. Just holding it, just built itself. So it's definitely a nice pole. The outside of the tent has the support guy lines, and down here you've got, to hold the fly down, it's just a snap. Just comes out of there, and it's quite easy just to snap it back in. Obviously when you have two hands to work with. There we go. The tent pegs do not actually go through the foot of the tent. You follow a line here. If I can stop my shadow from going over it. And you put the tent peg in out here. So you're not actually, if you put it out directly from the corner, it's not going to make any performance difference. It'll still hold it down. It just means that you've got less stuff going on right in here, so less of a chance of bending the tent peg or applying too much pressure on it. The tent pegs themselves, they are also aluminum. The design really holds down the lines, like, because it will not slip off due to a little groove going up into the tent peg itself. Let's see if I can pull one out here. They hold really well as well. So you've got, there's that little groove here, and you always want to put it facing on an angle out from the line. So that way, if the line tries to pull up, it'll hook into those, and if it's on an angle, it won't just pull it straight up. You'll have to actually like pull the whole ground up that's above it. They are aluminum, so you'd think they'd be easy to bend, but they are actually stronger than most of the tent pegs that normal tents come with, like the steel round ones. To get them in, they're fairly easy as well. And just take your line, hook it over like that. And when you want to take it off, just unhook it. Between the aluminum tent pegs and the aluminum framework, this means that the weight saved could go towards making a thicker fly. This fly is very rubberized. You can definitely feel it. I have had it in some light rain before, and it's held up perfectly fine. As for stretching in the sunlight, I haven't found that it's done that yet, but I haven't had it set up too many times yet, maybe about 3 or 4 times. One thing that I am noticing is on the front here. This here, the line is not very long on this, so there's where you need it to keep it tight. But then if you take it down toward the ground, it starts to sag in the middle there. It doesn't really affect the performance of it. It still drains off perfectly fine. But it's just one of those things that affects the appearance. Along with the fly, it has its own ridge pole, which gives you the vestibules here. It's easy enough to put in. One complaint. Let's see if I can see it here. I don't know if you can see that, but right there, that little end sort of just goes up against the tent. It's too long. I've got it hooked through the eyelet, but it's still pushing into the fly. So that could be, it is reinforced a little bit there because it is pushing on a seam, so it's nice and thick, but it could be a problem in the future. Frame, it's just those quick clips. Makes it really easy to set up. I set this up in the dark last night and it probably took me about 15 minutes on my own. And it's also got the little velcros there, which I haven't done up. Holds it in place. The only real complaints that I have about this is that they're, I mean it's bright enough in here, even with everything closed down, but it's sometimes, I mean, I find in a lot of tents they'll have some sort of a little window up at the top or something. Again, it is built to be light and just do its job, so that's what it does. There also, when I woke up this morning, and on my other trips with this, there's a lot of condensation buildup at the top of the fly here along the ridgepole. So this vestibule, the walls become really wet. Like, I mean, I got up and undid this and it was dripping off of there. Not too much of an issue. It doesn't really drip in the tent at all, but it definitely is annoying when you're trying to get through those little doorways in the morning. And if you touch your head or your back to it, you're gonna get wet. All in all, I'd say this tent is a very good tent. It's definitely worth the $180 I paid for it. Even the $230, I think it was for the regular price, $240, something like that. I'd probably still pay for that. There are larger versions of it available. There was a Cascade, I think they were all Cascade. 2, 3-person, and 4-person.